Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Live Free podcast. Today, I'll be talking to Sarah Kellysen, who is an active actor in early content for Lloyd. She's a musician and activist for children actors and so much more. And without further ado, let's get started. Uh, so, this podcast, we didn't try to do this uh, when we brought it back as a Q&A, but I wanted to meet the people that were associated with Lloyd, just so I know them more in the business. Whether we click off and it leads to potential collaborations, or even if it doesn't, just generally meeting these new people is really what I wanted to do and get into, because I just recently started working with Lloyd. Uh, so this episode, as well as some of the other ones that are going to follow, where I'm going to be meeting you, Lloyd people, actors and content creators, it's going to be a little bit like a Q&A. Um, it would be great if you could come back later and we could just like chat without it being such a Q&A atmosphere. That'd be perfect. But right now, I just figured since we're
I'm
just
better in that atmosphere.
I figured since we're just meeting each other, it's best to just kind of understand what you're all about. Um, so you said that you had been inactive on YouTube for how many years now?
Since like the beginning, like 2007.
Oh, geez,
Like,
really? I didn't
yeah.
realize that. That's crazy. So you
Yeah.
you said you're coming back in 2022, right?
Yeah, this year I'm working on a bunch of new projects and stuff because I took a year off from after my departure from Arctic.
Oh, okay.
A year,
Okay,
yeah,
I
because that
misunderstood
was
what
a
you were
whole thing.
saying. I thought you were saying you took a year off of YouTube, not Arctic.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, like everything in general, like
Oh, okay.
everything. Like my social media hasn't been like active in like a year's time since the departure
Okay.
of Arctic and everything. So, and that
Okay.
whole situation.
So, with that being said, going into 2022, what's going to differentiate what you did prior this year? You said you had some exciting
Um,
stuff in the works,
well, yeah, I have
like a
like
rebranding.
definitely. I
Yeah.
think this is definitely like a revamp of my career itself because before I was always on a series where, as you know, Mike, there's restrictions when it comes to being on a child teen
Yes.
channel in general. So
Yes.
there's all those restrictions. So now that I don't have those restrictions for the first time in like a decade, I'm more free to do what I want.
Yeah.
So it's
Go
more,
freedom.
yeah, it's more just like figuring out what I want to do and how I want to voice myself. And I took a year to figure that out, what I really want to do and everything, and what I'm interested in. I'm working on various projects. Um, I'm still recording music. People think I left the music industry because I've been quiet for the past year. And you know how it's like with social media where you disappear for a while and everyone thinks you're dead, which, hello, I'm here.
Hey.
But I'm working on a new album, which I
Oh,
think
sweet.
is the first time where I get to really choose the image and the music and the sound I want to do. And it's very different from, you still have old elements of what I did previously, but there's also a lot of new storytelling elements there is as well, of stories I've never shared before, and of and in sounds I've never been able to explore because I've always been driven in a more commercialized way, whereas here it's going to be more of an indie meets commercial way,
Oh,
is where I'm kind of blending out the two so we can all meet halfway in the middle. So
that's exciting. I know what it's like to have that freedom. I was with a buddy. We'd had a channel called Barking Vans together, and it was like everything that I did, it had to be 50-50 mismatched with him. So it was like I can never really step out of that zone. Uh, and then I rebranded and I did, and it's been great ever since. But I'm still great friends with him. We still work on a lot of stuff, but it's like,
yeah,
yeah, you get to a point where it's like more of my stuff I want to focus on. So I'm sure that's exciting,
yeah,
very exciting.
it is. It is because yeah, like you said, it's like very hard to like when you have to compromise for someone else all the time. It's that can be very limiting.
Yes.
And I got to that point eventually, but now I'm at a point where it's complete freedom. But also that can be a bit scary, as I find as well, personally,
Yes.
because it's very like,
You're taking a
what do
whole
I
new
do now? I have
step.
all this freedom.
Yeah,
You
whole
have
new
the
step.
whole world.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot to take in. Yeah. I actually, even after I made the new film company, the one that I'm on right now, uh I didn't make anything for a while because it was like I don't want to take that wrong step, because there's so much potential for going into something new. So is that kind of how you feel with your music?
Definitely. It is very, because it's a very tricky business, as you probably know. And it's like, um, you kind of got to watch where you step, and it's kind of scary where you step. Like,
Yes.
you don't want to misstep, but also that's also kind of part of it too, is that you got to also learn from that as well, because I feel it's important to make those, um, you know, mistakes in a way so you can learn and grow from them. And that's what I found a lot. And sometimes you are put in positions where you do have to just let everything destroy around you and let it all fall down, and then that's how you'll pick up and learn from it and be a stronger person. And some things are just not meant to be, and
Yes.
you just got to give that up to God.
It's great because there's such thing as a personal rebirth and an artistic rebirth, and it's really cool to see how those kind of go hand in hand. Because at a point where you're in your artistic career and you see a rebirth, it's like that usually leads to a magnum opus, which is great. I haven't had the chance to listen to your albums yet, but I'm going to ASAP. But I'm really excited to. But I'm even more excited for this fourth one, honestly, because, like you said, you're taking it in a whole new step. But um, do you have any? Do you know when you're gonna release this?
um I think because right now I'm recording in a recording studio right now, and right now where I live, there's COVID restrictions, so I can't go to that at all right now
Yes.
currently. But I'm thinking like stuff will start releasing in the summer,
Oh, sweet.
going into some summer, maybe fall. We'll see about that. But it's definitely like reworking my story in a way that I don't think has been reworked before. And each album, I feel like each album I've done previously was definitely a version of my story, but here it's like everything's all open, and everything, I've never felt more creatively satisfied with a before. So that's what I'm really happy about going into this project.
Yeah, that makes me really happy to hear that for you. Like that's great. That's the best way that you can be as an
Thank you.
artist. Yeah, definitely. That was actually one of the questions I had was um I'm trying to find it here. Uh oh, I know I like to talk about my films and stuff more in depth, so I wanted to give you the opportunity to go through your albums in depth if you wanted to. Say what each one means, why you made it, stuff like that, whatever you want to say, if you want to.
Okay, like one word about each of them, or like,
Oh, you can
or
you
like
can go on a
how
story if you want.
I can go on a story. Okay, wait. I'm just pulling that up right now, really quickly, because I'm just like, I just need to like go. I just want to make sure that, because sometimes I read my stuff and I'm just like, I did not get the order right of them, so I just want to be right about that. So I'm just opening the Spotify. Um, okay, so you wanted the studio albums, right?
Yes,
Okay. Okay, well, first of all of these were worked within the previous label I was a part of. So that
which was
was where I
Dracoloid.
had the yeah.
Yeah,
And
yep,
that's where the restrictions, there was more restrictions with that. Like,
yes,
you will not hear me cussing in a song. So,
yeah,
of
yep,
any sort in any of those, because I know that was not okay. Even though, so there was some songs where it's a bit tongue in cheek, I would find. Um, because I guess I'll start with like Transition, which was the first one, which is weird because back then I was saying like I I'm I was having so much artistically creative ideas put in, and it felt like the first time I was having all the artistic um, learning curves I learned from being on Arctic and Drake Lloyd, because on Arctic is where I really started doing music, because they wanted to brand at the time back in 2013, 2014 on like Teen Stars and how they got the network. Drake Lloyd wanted to brand on that and how Teen Stars females specifically were becoming singers. So that everyone at Drake Lloyd, there was a period where everyone at Drake Lloyd had to be a singer.
Really?
And
I didn't know that.
I don't think that really worked out that well, but
yeah,
because that was a lot more for them to manage, a lot more of them to bite than they can chew.
Yeah.
And that's what it turned into. But for me, I wasn't really into it the first time, and actually it was on Arctic's. It was back in the first season. Actually, we did an episode called Switched Up, where I had to do like 4 or 5 different songs in that one episode because originally my character Jennifer on that show was supposed to be going to a performing arts school instead of a fine arts school, which Arctic is about now. So there was a difference with that, and so with that being said, they still wanted to incorporate the music element into the show somehow. And throughout the years, they made me sing on that show quite a bit, which eventually led to my own music. And when I did my own music, it was so cool. I felt with Transition, the first album, I felt very like, oh my God, this is my own album. It's out there in the world. All my friends locally were downloading it, and people from my high school who I never talked to or I haven't talked to in forever were contacting me. And it was surreal seeing people that were seeing me as like this like star and like this figure, this local figure online. So that was a crazy period in general for a lot of reasons. My next album after that was Casual, which was where I had more restrictions, where it was a kind of a fight on image, I would say, in a way, because they wanted me to be more wholesome actually during that season, and they tried to ask me to be, because during Transition I was showing a lot of skin and the network was like, we're getting kind of complaints about this. People didn't like it. And with me, it's even in this day and age, like female is fighting for their sexuality is still something that still needs to be prominent. And even for me as a trans person, that is an even bigger fight and a bigger barrier I have to carry, because there are times in the business where I got rejected based off of who I was. And so they wanted me to cover things up more. And you started to see that a lot in like the show itself and in my music, where I'm starting to like try to be more wholesome. And it was kind of a fight with identity. Mind you, I didn't mind the music I did, and I think it was a good learning curve for me regardless. And then the last one I did was Rainbow Rhythm with them, where it was it was during COVID, because actually the current project I'm working on now, some of those songs are from the recording sessions of then, before COVID, because it was supposed to come out in 2020, but then we just took that all out because this project I feel was even bigger and there was more to it than promoting it just during a time of COVID in 2020 when the pandemic was still new and fresh. So that's why we kind of just came up with this dance album. And it was, I think this one was done the quickest really. And there's some very hard storytelling songs that I feel like I didn't put enough, are hidden on there that say a lot of stuff of that time, but also there's a lot of just commercialized songs in general. Is probably the most commercialized out of the 3, I would say, in my opinion. But yeah, those are the 3 that's some of my previous work.
And what do you know what the new one's going to be called?
I do.
Oh, but are you keeping a secret? You can.
Maybe by the end. Let's save that for the
okay,
end.
All right.
We'll see how this interview goes.
Okay. All right. All right. Who inspired you for musicians? People you listen to.
From musicians. like I listen to all sorts of people. Like I swear, Mike, if you saw what my like Spotify list of songs is, you would think I'm bipolar. I shouldn't make that joke. Actually, that's a bad joke. But I would say like was inspired by like Britney Spears, Madonna, Janet Jackson growing up. I would always listen to them. Michael Jackson. I
Yes.
was a huge fan of just their ways of putting 110% into everything they do, and they do such phenomenal concerts in general
Yes.
that I always wanted to be just like a show person in general, and that's why in a lot of my work I'm putting 110, and I try to emulate that energy into everything I do. As for as well, I listen to like a lot of grunge rock. I listen to a lot of Nirvana, Pearl Jam. um, I love Poppy. She's very a new metal type of YouTuber artist.
Yes.
Love her. Love Grimes. So I'm currently inspired by those types of artists. I love Tame Impala and M83 and stuff like that as well. And I love really obscure stuff, like obscure weird stuff that no one would ever know about too.
Well, it's good to get inspired by so many different genres and stuff because that means that your ability to think of new songs and work on new songs that are sonically different is a lot more advanced, which a lot of people don't really have the ability to do. Especially, I'm a fan of rap myself, but if you look at rap, a lot of them are the same exact thing, album after album, song after song, because they aren't inspired by a wide range of artists. So that's great. That's going to take you in a really great direction. I feel
Yeah.
like I really do.
I well, that's actually how I like went in with actually my first album Transition, where it's very multi-genre, where half of it's like a hip hop that also has elements of grunge and rock in it, where then the second half is all EDM. And yeah, so that's how, I love working in various genres as well.
I really need to listen to that because I didn't know you were experimenting with rap and EDM on that one.
Yeah, I do all sorts of stuff. Like it's a wild card with me.
I'm really gonna have to listen to those. I'm excited to. I just haven't had time to, but uh,
That's okay.
yeah, I'll get there. I just gotta
They're
get
a
this.
long listen.
I gotta get the first quarter of this year done with films
Okay,
and
I'm
stuff, and
sorry.
then yeah, I'm like
Sounds good.
95% done. Then we're good. But I'll get there. I promise. And I'll email you when
Okay.
I do and tell you what I think and what my favorite songs are. But I'm really excited
Yes.
to. I really am. Uh, so, one second. You've spent years as an actor and a musician. Is there anything else you'd like to do going forward?
Um, I would love to. There's things I like to do. I like to do various things. I like to. I would love to be on like runway model as well. I've been like considered for that
Oh,
before,
really?
just because I love wearing various outfits and everything, and I'm all about wearing whatever. Um, Actually, at my school, someone said that I should be on Project Runway, like a prop set I should be, because I'm always about, putting an outfit together, having various layers to my work and everything I do. And I also would love to be like a talk show host, because everyone keeps saying I should be a talk show host or a podcast host because I can go on forever. So
You should do podcasts. I think you do great at that.
thank you.
I
I
just think you have the energy for it. I really do.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people say, because I'm very like I'm open to talking about like whatever, whenever. I
Yes.
do I do Obscure Nick, which is a channel I do which is about talking about situations with former child stars. So I kind of have been figuring out my voice through that, and just figuring out about how I feel about a lot of situations going on in pop culture and in the entertainment industry, and situations nobody talks about that is happening in the world. But so that's where I kind of have been trying to get more confident in my voice and figuring out my voice. I think with like a podcast and like a talk show in general, you need to figure out your voice
Yes.
personally and where you stand on a lot of things, and you have to be prepared for the backlash as well, I
Yep.
think, because there will be times where you will screw up, and
Yes.
it will just, everyone will hate you. I've had that happen before many times.
Yes. I'm still getting into the whole podcast thing. I've been doing it since like 2019, but not consistently. Like 2019, and this is week 13, so it doesn't make sense. But we just do it whenever we can, and yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of it can be difficult at times. I didn't realize how difficult it was to always retain a conversation, especially if you know someone really well and you're like, I already know all that I'm asking you or we're talking about, but I still have to ask and talk to you about it. But
Yeah, that can be challenging because you have to
yes,
keep the conversation good.
yes, yep,
But do it at your own pace. There's no need to rush it like every single week because
yeah, exactly. And then
these things are long.
yeah, quality over quantity, yeah. Um,
Definitely.
so going back to, do you pronounce it obscure Nick? Is that how it's pronounced?
Yeah.
Yeah, going
Yeah,
back to
that's exactly.
obscure Nick, um, why did you choose to do that, and what is this project all about?
Um, well, here's the thing. Like, worked, I'm kind of the person that has been in certain realms of the industry who's dealt with the worst. I've definitely had my Me Too moments with that. And I know I've seen shady things and I've seen a lot that people do not speak of within that culture itself. And I feel like,
And that culture is child actors, right?
yeah, within that specifically, because like I told you, Meg, I've been doing this since I was 12, and even online, and also it's not just child actors, it's people on YouTube as well, like small
Okay.
YouTube, even in the small YouTube community, there's a lot of things that go on that people don't know about, and I think it's important to, you know, for myself, if I want to be in this industry, I want to be in it honestly, and I don't want to have to conform to certain narratives or certain people to fit into that narrative, because there's so many people in this day and age that just abuse power. And this has always been a thing, by the way. It's nothing new.
Yeah.
It's
No.
just now we're starting to see it. There's starting to be a light shined on it. And I think especially with child actors, there's so much cover up that I see that I saw firsthand happen when there are certain producers and people that I know that paid off certain magazines to not get a certain article published about them. Like, they go to all different channels and all different areas to cover themselves up. That's why I did this, so those people could have a platform. And I have a lot of surprising people come and talk to me and say they want to be part of my thread, because my threads get at least like 300 to 1,000 people will like those threads and see those threads. And I know those people are watching me right now, and I know it's a big risk for me to put myself out there, but if not me, then who? Like, really, like, I feel someone has to rip the bandage off of those things.
Yes.
And I also feel confident because there's so many YouTubers. I'm friends with I don't know if you know the YouTuber Sloan.
I don't think so.
He's a very big YouTuber right now who exposes a lot of what's going on in the industry
Okay.
itself, and he has a big platform, and he's helped me start mine up, and I appreciate him so much, and he's so kind, and he's a friend of mine, and he encouraged me to put myself out there, and I really give it all to him. And I was very like, I don't want to put myself out there, I'm gonna get blacklisted, but he was like, we need more people like you in the world. And that's why I decided to just start making videos with it as well, not just on Twitter but videos too. Like, I even had Britney Spears' former manager, Sam Lufty, like yesterday reply to one of my threads on Britney
Really?
Spears.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's way cool.
It's surreal.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But
Yeah. Well, it's really cool that you're doing that. Also, um, that is definitely something that needs to be talked about more. And um, I just in I have a hard time uh, saying this, but um, that's really important, and I'm really happy that you're doing that. And like, thank you. I guess, from everyone, because that is something that really needs to be done. I guess I have a hard time being
Yeah.
sincere.
No, you're fine. You're
I
fine.
just I just I just
You're
have a
all
hard
good.
time believing that it hasn't been done yet to the extent that you're trying to pursue it, you know?
And you know why it hasn't been done yet is because so many people have covered it, and with the age of social media, it's now easier to get that
Dig it
out there.
up.
Before it
Yep.
was so much easier to like
Bury it.
cover things up.
Yep.
And
That's
yeah, and so
that's
it's
horrible.
crazy. Like,
Yeah. That's bad.
yeah.
Well, I really hope with you doing that that it pushes for a better future with that realm because
Yeah.
um, someone I look up to a lot, a talk show host and a podcaster, ironically, Conan O'Brien, he's always talking about how
Hmm.
he would never allow his kids in the show business, but you know, he talks to kids. He did on the talk show, and now he's talking to the kids that were in show business all grown up, like McCalkay Culkin's brother. I can't remember his name, but it's crazy that some of them turn out good, some of them turn out bad. You know, um, some of them deal with that negative energy from the producers and the managers, and some of them don't. And hopefully, the negative
Yeah.
managers just get pushed right out of there. So I'm glad that you're shining
Yeah.
extra light on it. That's really what you're doing is taking the light and putting an even brighter flashlight on it, and that's really
Yeah.
it's really good. Like
Thank
obscure
you.
Nick's
Yeah.
really cool. This is something that I probably should like text or email you, but I don't want to forget. But you really need to send me like a link to like your YouTube, Obscure Nick, your albums and all that, and I'll put them in the link of this video because I think that they're all, especially Obscure Nick, but I also want people to see your album, your YouTube channel, and hear your albums, you know, and I think it's important to put those in there, especially though Obscure Nick. I think that's something that is really, you know, the way that Leonardo DiCaprio is known for his activism, especially with global warming. I think that that could be Sarah Kellysen's thing is defending, you know, and I mean it's honorable. It's crazy.
Thank you.
Yeah, of
And
course.
it's something like I never expected to do either. Like it was just something I just started doing one day just to get certain messages out. I didn't really expect it to, go to where it has gone now. And that's,
Yeah,
you know, I think like more people need to come out in the open, and so many people like you would be surprised at my DMs.
yeah,
It's mind blowing because even on there I don't share everything that is said because some people you have to protect some people too,
yeah,
and you have to be aware of that when sharing that stuff. So I try to go over with a fine comb brush, even though some people think I'm very reckless with it. I'm actually really holding back a lot more than what is
yes,
being said there, just to protect others.
yeah, and that's important too. And I mean that right there shows that you're committed to it because you're not going at it recklessly. You're going at it um, in a yeah
Yeah.
in a professional manner.
Well, like even like with my previous thread with Miley Cyrus, there was a lot of heavy stuff that I get why people would think it's conspiracy, but I did go over it and I did make connections to it, and that's what I do with it is I make the connections and try to figure out how does this translate in reality. And I think with like Free Britney last year, we can't really we can't really doubt like what anyone says because we can't be surprised by the reality. Because I mean like we found out last year like the world's biggest pop star was a prisoner by her own family for 13 years. Like let's wake up here and like
Change it.
expect the unexpected.
Yeah,
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 exactly.
yeah. I think another thing that I believe we forgot to go over it was your indie films you mentioned to me in
Mm,
the email. Um,
yeah.
so you said you wanted to go into indie films, right? Directing them. Have you ever directed anything?
I see.
Oh,
I
I
major
did
as
you say
a.
that you did a few episodes of Arctic, directed a few, or am I dreaming
I
that?
wrote. I wrote a
Row.
few episodes
Okay,
of that.
okay.
I wrote 2 episodes of that show before, but I never. And I was actually the. I was one of. I had involvement. I was the one of the executive producers in the first season. I just didn't do it in the second season because that was too much work. That's a whole other situation. I can't do that.
Didn't
I
you
only
go into it
took that
super
title to have
super
creative.
young too?
I was super young,
For an executive
but like
producer
most of the
especially, I
people,
bet that was stressful.
but everyone on there was young, like majority, like so it's all young people like working on that show. So it's not that it's so yeah, for all of us it was challenging for sure.
Even
Especially because the first these sorry.
Oh no, you're good. Even for Draco Lloyd, I was just wondering, was he really young too?
He's younger than me. He's
Really? I
like
didn't know that. I did not know that.
no, actually, him and I are the same age about, I think,
Oh, I did not know
because
that.
he's born. Yeah, because he's born in '96
Oh,
and
that
I'm
is new to me.
95.
I was not expecting that at all.
Really?
Yeah, I did not know that.
Okay.
That's crazy to me. That's crazy to
Okay,
me.
that's. I thought you would have known, but okay.
Oh no,
Yeah.
we're just on a business relationship, him and I. I mean, I want to get to know him better.
Oh,
You know,
I
we're
got you.
working on it, but I don't know his whole history or anything yet. I got to get through the whole second quarter of the year before I can get to that.
That's fair enough.
So,
But yeah, like all the people were, and even the writers on there were young people. Like the woman who was the original creator, Devin Best, was my age as well. So it was her, Drake, and myself, and that's who ran the first season. And then afterwards, she was gone. I was out of that position. I just wanted to be an actor, and then he just took over. That's pretty much what happened. And then eventually they had other people come in
that's
for that. So
that's crazy.
sorry, I just realized what was I talking about?
Oh no, you're all good. We were.
I
I was
feel like I
asking if
just
you
blocked
directed
your question.
anything. Have,
Yeah, well, like I guess that would be like the direction. I also go to school for photography. I'm a photography major as well, so I'm photography film sort of thing. So I have to do a lot of projects with photo shoots and stuff, and I'm even in an exhibition next month
oh,
in my
sweet.
city for that, which is a Dreams and Nightmares exhibition of fine art photography work. So I do a lot of things like that. So I know how to like command. I know how to take a position of power, and a lot of those albums I did, I also had half to say on a lot of that as well.
Oh, okay. So
But
you'll
not in terms of films, not so much.
but you'll glide
Sorry, what did
right
you say?
right into it because you have that idea of kind of pushing for what you want with a group of people around you, telling them what your desire is, what your hope is, what the metaphorical scene will be like. But now you're going to tell them how the literal scene will be like. What kind of
Yeah.
what kind of genre are you going for with these indie films? Do you know at all?
Um, I'm kind of doing like documentary meets satire in a way,
Oh,
meets
interesting.
heightened reality. So a lot of what I did previously, like I'm pretty sure you've watched Arctic before. That's a very
I've seen most of them.
satire-based show. Okay, yeah, so you know that's a
Yeah,
satire-based show.
yeah. I haven't really seen them in order
So,
because the first like few seasons aren't even on YouTube.
oh really?
Maybe they
I
are.
thought they
I don't
were.
know. They might be.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually am the
Um,
one that put it on IMDb. So yeah, so I was
oh,
kind of
okay,
going through them while I was adding everything.
because I was mentioned by someone about IMDb the other day, like actually a few weeks ago, saying like you need to update your IMDb page, and I'm like, because in the back of my mind I already think I already had this. I just completely forgot about this for years. I need to update my picture and stuff, so I didn't know it was like just put on now. So
Oh, is
thank you
is this
though.
the
Thank
first
you
one
though.
that you have? Like you didn't have one before?
I thought I had one, but then they said that then I was told there was nothing on mine. So
Oh, okay.
except art.
Okay.
No.
Yeah, if you need anything added to it, just email it to me. All your projects and stuff. If you want me to
Okay.
add it to them, I'll add it to it.
Oh, thank you so
Yeah,
much. Yeah, that's
definitely.
so
Yeah,
appreciated.
yeah,
I appreciate that really.
yeah. It takes a little bit of time, but I'll get to it. I do a lot of stuff. Like I do the IMDb. I do my own films, music videos, writing. I do a lot of stuff. So it can take me a bit of time, but I'll get it done eventually.
Okay,
Yeah.
that sounds cool. That
Yep.
sounds like a lot. So,
Yeah. Yep. I try to stay busy though, because otherwise, what are you really doing? you know?
that's true. That's
Yeah.
so true.
I do really like that idea of a documentary being blended with a satire, though. I've never really seen a genre like that for a film, which is really cool because That's always something that I've wanted to do myself is blend genres. Like I tried making a political comedy that was like had sci-fi elements at the in the third act.
Oh, that's so
Yeah, I
cool.
couldn't do it because COVID came and ruined it, but I really did want to do something
Oh
like that. Yeah,
no.
yep. But yeah, I think that's the most interesting thing you can do with film is blend two genres together that usually aren't blended together. So I'm really excited to see those. Do you know when you're going to be working on them?
Think hopefully, like I'm still writing the script for one of them right now. Hopefully sometime this year. And yet the reason why I actually like to blend genres is because I like to do something game changing. I don't like to go in with mentality of doing something someone's already done. I'm always
Exactly.
someone that's going to change it up no matter what, whether it turns out as good or bad. And actually that's why I mesh so well with the people at Drake Lloyd is because they also have that mentality of saying, hey, what's going to be game changing, what can shake things up a little bit. And that's what I was influenced a lot by and what I've taken forward. So in a lot of my work.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's always
I
better.
definitely recommend continuing with the mixed genres, by the way, because I think you could figure it out. It's just like you gotta figure the right balance of what's good and what's not with it. But I definitely think it can work.
Well, it's more fun and it makes it more unique, especially as time goes on. That's what I really like about it. So, I mean, that's a documentary that's going to
Yeah,
stand the test of time a lot better than any other, you know?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's one
Um,
of a kind. That's what you want to make.
exactly. Yes. So, um, I don't know. Are you ready for the Draco Lloyd portions of questions?
I guess. Yeah, we'll see
Okay.
how.
Okay. You don't have to answer them all if you
This is
don't
like my.
if you don't want
Okay.
to. If
Okay.
you don't want to,
Well,
you don't have to. Cause this must be a
yeah, because
somewhat of
my
a
experience with it is very mixed. I'll
okay.
be honest with you. It'll
Yeah.
be very mixed. So it's like I don't know what type of.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're expecting, but
No, no,
like.
you're all right. You're all right.
Okay.
This one might be against the grain then. What's your favorite aspect of Draco Lloyd as a company?
um. You know what I really actually like is that they give a ch- a chance to people who don't really who have a hard time pushing their way in the industry. Specifically, so before Arctic, I don't know if you know this. I worked on one of their first shows ever called Diaries of Alice's
You
Bedroom,
said that in
which
the
was
email. I haven't seen that though, but I think he might have.
I don't think that one's like available.
Oh, that one's not available.
I have it
Okay.
I think I have it on a DVD or somewhere. Like somewhere, I think I have some of them. I don't watch my own work, by the way,
I don't
often,
either.
but
I don't either.
so
I can't.
I'm not a fan of that, and I don't like to associate myself with anything that was personally in mine. So I try to avoid that at all costs.
Same here.
But um, that show. There was someone who specifically worked on it. That was an actor who we had some people on that show from behind that weren't so confident in this actor's position. And it was because of a lot of things. And there were things he needed to work on, of course, just like anyone else, but they still worked with him, and they took away people that weren't confident in that. They take over there. I don't know if you've had this experience. You said that you've only been working with them for like a year.
Yeah, probably a little less. I couldn't pinpoint an exact
Okay.
time, honestly. Maybe May.
Okay. So I don't know how it's run now, and I don't know if it's like different than when I had it, because it might have been different, because I was there in the inception of it, and so I saw that all come to fruition, which was a very different time for it. When I was there, they took chances on a lot of people who weren't the most skilled. They just took whoever was there, and they would try to form them, and give them a chance, and they people who weren't competent in the projects would go a lot quicker. And I don't know if that's been an experience you've had yet, but that happened a lot. And they got rid of those people in order to bring up those people who were being brought down. And I enjoyed that we just had to work with certain people for them to improve their skill further. And I had some training in acting prior. Like, I had an acting coach from LA that worked with a lot of child actors, and he helped me a lot and made me understand acting in a lot of ways. And that made me help this other person who I adore and love, and he's so sweet, and he's always been so supportive, and I'm so glad that he did not listen to those people that did not believe in him, and he just kept going and going and going. And I worked with him actually what I did actually was him and I would work on lines every single day after school. We were both in he was in middle school, I was in high school at the time, and we would work every day on our lines together, and we just practice and practice and practice until we had to film. And we did a lot of that hands-on work, and that helped build like a really strong bond with us. And he got so better, and he even got his own lead show at one point. And he doesn't do acting now, but I really love that they kept working with him no matter what, and they had so much strong confidence in him as an actor, despite what other people said. They thought he was mold, but he turned into gold at the end of the day, in my opinion. So
Yeah, that's great for a company to be really confident in its people. You know, that's definitely something an attribute that a lot of people don't have. So
yeah,
that is really cool to hear. Um,
yeah,
yeah, that is pretty
that was
sweet.
one of the most that actually made me smile to see him like really, like, really put himself out there and just keep trying and just keep going, because he's gone through so much in general. So I'm so proud of him. So
Yeah, and
despite not him acting anymore, and he's doing something completely different, and he's not on the radar at all, but
yeah, well, yeah, he
he still did
still did it, and
he still did it.
yeah, and
So
that push, that friendly push from the company to encourage him and say you can do this, that's really something. That's pretty cool. You kind of went over this one. What but what do you think of the cast rotation and the changes on Arctic through the years?
um that's I would say like it was frustrating in the beginning. Definitely, and that's actually part of why I didn't do executive producer after season 1, because there was a lot of turmoil with what was going behind the scenes at that show. And it got after a while you get kind of used to it. I shout out to like Weird Paul, who plays Principal Willie. Him
He's
and I were
he's
the
been
only
on it
two to stick.
forever. Yeah.
And he's okay, but here's the great thing about him is that he's very patient with letting things just go with the flow. This is what it is. He goes with whatever, and and that's why he's had a career for three. Would the 80s be 4 decades or 5 decades now? Because
Uh,
that's
I think going on 5. It's just starting at
okay.
5.
Yeah, because he started his career in the 80s, and he has like a million albums. He keeps going, and he didn't truly get viral until recently, in recent years. And he just did whatever he could to get there, and he never stopped quitting. And he just was like, just go with the flow. Things will happen when it happens. So having him there felt like it was like keeping someone, at least there's one person there that's like sane, that makes me feel that at least I'm not the only one just sitting there.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of the cast changes had to do with personal issues with the people on there themselves. There were various people we had on there in personality in a lot of different ways. There were some people that were just looking for fame, and that's all they were there for. They were not there to like actually act or anything else, and they were let go really quickly. And I understand why people were let go from the show, because it was until I got let go, which I didn't like, but that's a whole other situation. But that show just naturally is something that I think is like I went on a show years ago that said this show looks like the Walmart cashiers each season. People are dropping, and I'm like, that's actually very true. But there's always like there's at least Principal Willie who keeps the stability there,
Yeah.
and that's if you don't have him, then you don't have the show, in my opinion. So
Yeah.
and it's hard to watch when he's not there, and it was hard. But there were people I got along with there, and there were people, okay, I'll be honest. Like, I think there are some really great men and women that worked on that show that were just starting out. Some people liked it, some people hated it, some people realized that acting wasn't their thing and they figured it out, but they still did it.
That's a loaded answer.
Sorry.
No, you're all right. You're all right.
Here's the thing. I just don't want someone to think I'm putting out
Yeah.
a false narrative about
Yeah.
this, because I see online a lot of times, and ever since my exit, I know that there's been a lot of things put out there that are just like twisting what I'm saying. So I'm trying to not make it sound a certain way.
It's just a lot to wrap my head around. It's like so you kind of answered this one too. Do you get along? Did you get along with the Arctic cast behind the scenes?
For the most part,
Yeah.
you have a face on your face. You're like, don't have this in a bad way. There are people that I do. Well, there were, I think like 20 plus main cast members when I was there. By the time I was gone, there was probably in the 20 plus. There were, of course, people I vibed with and people I didn't at all vibe with. But the main ones that stayed for the longest, I did. I feel like there are certain people that created false narratives about that show in a way that I get asked about quite a bit, where they feel like because it's a rotating cast each season, they must have had a falling out with like the lead actor, because I was the lead actor. It was credited me until I was kicked out of there. And when you have that lead actor title, there's a lot of assumptions, thinking people that come into the show thinking, oh, you're the lead actor, so you must think you're up here on everyone, which wasn't the case at all, because I just was okay with talking with anyone, really. But I did feel that energy off of a few people, and there were people that I feel, they were dismissive towards me in a way that because of that, I'm sorry, I'm just like losing my space on this, but
you're good.
It's a hard question to answer.
Yeah.
But like, I never had like, actually, no, I was gonna say something. There was never any like really bad blood from me, at least. I don't know. I can't answer for everyone. There were some people with different personalities that would come in with the ones with the mindset of saying, oh, I'm going to be so famous after this, were the people that were either let go sooner. They would try to take, they were those were the people I didn't vibe with, really, just to keep it straightforward. But for the most part, I got along with the cast from my last season on there. I got along with them fine. People think they didn't like me. I still follow all of them on social media. That cast I still follow. So, and I still like I wished McKenna Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year like last week. So
yeah,
I still keep in contact with some of them. I don't keep in contact with all of them.
Yeah. But. Yep. I mean, one second here. Sorry.
No worries.
So
I'm sorry for giving like a confusing answer.
Oh no, you're all good. What is the work you did for the channel that you were most proud of?
Like, are you talking about like specific episode or specific show or like?
You can you
What
can
would you
say
say?
you can say whatever one you want.
um, hmm. Like I enjoy both the shows I worked on there, because I worked on Diaries and I worked on um,
Arctic.
Arctic, and I guess starred on a few of those shows, of his other shows too. Usually as a musical guest, but I would say I like both of those shows for different reasons. With Diaries, it was just me, as like it felt like a one woman show in many ways, because it would be me and the puppets, and then sometimes they would have an alternative guest star on there or whatnot. But I would always have to do monologues on there, and like the scripts for me were literally 3-page monologues. That's how my character did it. And so I feel like that contributed to like my short-term memory loss in many ways, because I do suffer from that in so many ways. But so that helped me push my acting a bit further and helped me get good at like memorizing stuff and really challenge myself in many ways. So, and I will say, like, I did have the best time working with the people over on Diaries a lot, because we had a blast every day, and I was in high school at that time. And I would actually I'd only spend half the day at high school and half the day
Oh, really?
filming that. So I'd like because I was also trying to get into acting in LA at the time as well. So I was doing half and half. And so that's how my schedule was done. So I was not really a person who was at high school much, um, but that work I liked doing for that, and I think everyone on there vibed with one another. With Arctic, I love the creativity we had there. We could it was an art show, and we truly played off the fact that it could be an art show. We did an episode where it was just weird stuff. Can I cuss on this podcast,
Yeah,
by the way?
yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I don't want to I was gonna say something, but I was like, okay, weird shit that we did. Like, it was so trippy. Some episodes we did were just trippy, and they were like, just say these lines. We'll have some trippy effects going on. I don't care, and that's what the episode is. And so we did that, and I love how, and I feel that played a lot into the creative part of it being about an art show, but it's also an art show itself.
Yeah.
And I think that was the beauty of it. Because some of my favorite episodes. I can't believe I know that Drake and Lloyd got a lot more stricter with time, especially with Arctic, where they used to be less restrictive in the earlier episodes of that, and even in Diaries we got away with a lot more stuff. And I think it's because of restrictions with YouTube, and when you have kid-related content, those restrictions have gone a lot tighter with the years. But when we didn't have as many restrictions, I can't believe we still did this episode where Jennifer and Samantha got high in a hotel in Japan. And I remember that episode, and it was very like, I was like thinking to myself back then, was like, wow, we're doing this, and it's crazy and it's trippy. But now I'm like, how did we actually, like, how was that ever like approved, this script?
Yeah.
Like, and that was a fun one. That one I put on my Instagram as a flashback sometime, because I think it's so funny of me smoking a joint and in that episode. So I think that was fun, because that's such a mood for 2020, I feel, in general. Whereas another one I really loved, actually, that we did later on, was the episode called Garage Band. They stopped making me sing at that point. I don't know why, but I feel like it was because of the conflict of me being their artist as Sarah Kellysen, and they wanted Jennifer to be her own separate character, and they like keeping that separation. I didn't sing in that episode, actually, but it was someone else singing. But it was fun just doing like an episode all about this indie band that Jennifer and her friends all make, and they they're just trying to build up this band to fame, and then it gets all crushed and burned. And I found that I love that one was a fun one. And another one I liked was the Willy of Oz, where we did the Wizard of Oz parody. That was fun as well.
I don't know if I've seen the Garage Band one, or I don't know if I've even seen the Willy one, but I'm gonna have to check them out. I'm gonna get through them.
They're
But
really fun.
yeah, I need to sit down and watch them all sometime. But um, I guess one last question. Um, how did Drake and Lloyd shape your career?
I would say it really put stepping stones and really influenced a lot of what I do now. And I think it was because I meshed with a lot of the people that I had a good it was a good working relationship for the most part, until like the last year and a half, where it became tumultuous and there was a lot of things with that. But I gelled with those people really well that worked behind, and I'd be the type of person that would want to know things ahead of time. I'm the type of person that will message you being like, we should, and I would put suggestions out there and fight for certain ideas on that show, on specifically Arctic, where I was like, let's do this sort of thing because this is what's trending, or this is what's going to get people talking, whether it's good or bad. And and that's the type of energy I think they want to be brought to the table there, because the people who last the longest, I know, are the most creatively driven people. And I think, that's what I was always told by them, is that I have the drive to be there, that's why I did 10 years up there. And I also didn't have anything else to do, but I think a lot of the stuff was just being driven and going for game-changing ideas that nobody else is thinking about, and think outside the box. And I think that's what's encouraged over there more than anything. And yeah, I think the reason why I gelled with a lot of those people is because a lot of them a lot of their influence was like past ideas. They learn from the past in order to make a better future.
Oh, that's great. I'm glad that it inspired you so much. I'm sorry that it ended poorly, or mixed, I suppose. But I'm glad that you're on a new path. I can't wait to
Thank
see
you.
what 2022 brings you with your return. I'm excited to
Thank
see
you.
your gender bending, gender bending, genre bending films. My bad. Um,
No, I get it. I get what you're saying. You're good.
Autocorrect on my phone puts gender as genre as gender. I'm also
Genre.
sleep deprived. Genre bending films. Yeah, apologies. Um, but I'm really excited to see everything you do. Congrats again with Obscure Nick. Um,
Thank
it
you.
was really great meeting you. Also, I'm
Yeah,
sorry I'm
you
not the best
too.
at this. Hopefully you can come back and are willing to come back and we can chat sometime in the near future. Um,
Yeah.
Collaborating would also be great eventually, like doing a comedy skit or something together down the road.
Yeah, I'd love to do it.
Yeah, I know you're busy. I'm staying busy, but like if I ever find a free spot or something and for a fun cameo or whatever, that'd be sweet. Um, yeah, I don't know. I hope I did decent.
You did amazing, I think. Like, I was like, "Oh my God, am I talking too much?" Because I don't want to be like taking
No.
over your
Oh no,
podcast.
no. Yeah,
I'm like,
the
I just
whole
have a lot to say about a lot of things. So,
nobody wants to hear me talk on this. They hear me on this too much. So yeah,
oh,
you're all good. Um, yeah, thank you for coming. It was great meeting you. Please send me the links.
thank you.
I'm sorry if I cut it too short. Also,
Yes,
uh, I I don't know. I'm trying to figure out the best timing for a podcast. You know what I mean? We've been playing around with the uh,
right.
2 hour mark, hour mark. So we're just trying to kind of see where it lands off at. So I figured for this one, 45 would be probably enough. Now we're at, it looks like about an hour. So, you know, um, I also don't want,
Really? Oh,
yeah,
wow.
I don't want to take up too much of your time either. But a chat one definitely in the
Oh, no, you're
future.
fine.
We could also eventually do an extended one, an extensive one too. I would definitely be down for that.
Yeah.
I think you're a really great artist in person, and I hope we can
Oh,
make
thank
a
you.
business relationship. That'd be sweet.
I'd love that too, because I was really nervous going into this because I was very hesitant. I was like, when people ask me things about what I did prior, and it's usually like either something very like gossipy or like, I mean, like, I get that I have to like address those things to a degree. I can't just like say, because I did leave really abruptly from there, but I won't get into detail about that. But like, so I was kind of nervous going into this because I was like, I'm not sure, is there going to be some sort of surprise? But
Oh no.
if you want to know more about like that company in general, I'm always welcome. I am always willing to like help you or guide you, or if you have any questions or whatnot, I'm always open to that. And that goes for like anyone who's going into this. Just because I don't work there anymore, and I haven't for a while, doesn't mean I always like to look out for new talent in the industry, just to tell them what to do, what not to do, because I've seen so many people, do a lot of missteps and stuff. So I'm always open to having those really great conversations. So
Well, that's a great message to put out there. And again, I'm really glad that you're doing that, especially with Obscure Nick. And I'm really excited to see where that goes and where your films go, and your YouTube goes. Yeah, I'm really excited to see it all. I'm gonna listen to albums right
I'm
away.
really excited to see what you do too, because I was checking out your stuff, and I was like, there's a lot of really interesting stuff going on
Yeah,
here. Like,
yeah, yeah. We
I was like,
we definitely try to go for a different genre. I said it right this
I
time.
found that really cool. I think it's quite groundbreaking, to be honest with you,
Thank you.
because
I
it's
appreciate
like
it.
it's like we need more creators like that in the world. I think that's what engaged me to it, because I was like looking it up last night. I was like, oh my god, like you have so much stuff.
Yeah, we try to make original content. I think there's too many remakes and sequels being made anymore. You know,
Definitely.
yeah,
Oh my god.
yeah. It's to
Oh
a
my
point of
god. Yeah.
absurdity. So, yeah, yeah. That's why I really like your genre bending documentary that you're working on. Yes, yeah. I'm really excited to see that.
It's a bit of everything.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. Of course. Thank you for being on this. It was really great to meet you.
You too.
Please make sure to send me your links, and we'll stay in touch, and we'll continue discussing where our careers go, and we'll meet up again soon
Yeah.
and talk some stuff out, and we'll work together soon too, as soon as we're both free, because I would love to do that if you're willing to do that. That'd be sweet.
Oh, I'm definitely always down. I'm always down for any job or any project or anything in general.
I
So
I like a
I'm
creator like
always,
that. I really do. Creators like that are the
yeah.
best ones.
You know what's funny is because, sorry, I'm going on a tangent. Is
Oh no, you're
because
all
I
right.
got a lot of I got a lot of shit for being on Arctic, because they push a lot of boundaries, and it is a satire show. And for someone like me who's in the LGBTQ umbrella, I got a lot of shit from people within that community itself for being part of, like, why are you part of a sexist show, or why would you ever do this type of sexist programming, which is some people view it as. And it was because I wanted to put other types of people in that genre. I wasn't thinking of it as, it's a satire. It's not supposed to correlate with reality in any ways, and it's supposed to be in the realms of just pure comedy. And I was fine with that. I had no issues with that at all. So that's what I always said. I'm always game for anything. So
Yeah, yeah, that's great. I'm really happy that you were a part of it, and I'm again sorry that it ended so mixed, but uh, it's definitely something that people are gonna look back on, and you too. Even if memories aren't the most pleasant, you're gonna, you're gonna be appreciative of it. You know,
I had good days though too. I had like good and
exactly.
bad days
Yeah,
as well. Like
exactly.
I had my best days there, to be honest with you, and I had my worst days there.
Yeah,
So
the most negative memories always have some type of positivity to them.
they stay.
Whether
Yeah.
it was preceding,
Yeah. I
you
was.
know. So yeah, it's gonna be something. But
Thank you. I
thank
really
you.
appreciate that,
Yeah, of
and
course.
thank
Yeah.
you for being kind and not like on me like that.
Oh
So.
no, yeah, of course. Yeah, this is I'm not a candidate for who's in the wrong, who's in the right or anything like that. I just, I wanted to meet the people that worked with him before. That's simply all it is, but I'm really glad that I took the step to do that because hopefully it leads me to even more amazing people like yourself that uh, are just really cool and down to earth and creative that I can see their content, and um, you know, have that insider link with.
Yeah,
But
I'm sure of it. Yeah. I'm glad you reached out then. So I really appreciate it.
I'm glad you replied. I appreciate you being on the podcast. I'll
Yeah.
let you go now though, because I keep delaying the outro. But it was really good to talk to
Okay.
you. Thank you for being on the podcast.
You too.
I really
Thank
appreciate
you.
it. You have a good day.